Okay, this video is going to help you with the Blue Springs South FFA Ag Science Record Book. The first thing we need to understand is what are forms that we're looking at, what do they do, what's their function. So Form 1 is going to be the top half of a green paper that says Form 1 in the top left-hand corner, and the next to it's going to say income. As you know, income is the money that you bring in for yourself. The next thing we need to understand is there's some titles and subheadings on our Form 1. So if you notice here where I have the mouse, there is the ownership/entrepreneurship subheading. So this has to do with an SAE, a supervised agriculture experience, that has to do with something you own. So does your family own a dog? Do you own a rabbit? Do you own your garden? So if your SAE deals with something that has to deal with ownership, you are going to put a column heading here for that. If you work someplace, such as McDonald's, Blue Springs Vet Clinic, the pet store, something along those lines, that is going to go under the column that is labeled placement. And you can see this is labeled placement here. So you are working someplace is what I tell my students. So if you look at the sample entries number 1 purple sheet that I've got that says SAE record books, the first way that we made money is on January 10th, 2013. We sold 2 dachshund puppies for $225 each to Bridget Fields. So we're going to take Form 1. We're going to make sure that we put January up at the top. We're also going to make sure that we put the year for the records, and these particular records are done for the year 2013. Then over here under date, we're going to put the first date, which is 1-10. The total income. So we sold 2 puppies for $225 each. Well, $225 plus $225 is $450. Then here in the detailed description, we're going to put what we sold the puppies, who we sold the puppies to, what we sold, what did we do. So my description is going to be puppies-Bridget Fields. Under enterprise, we're never going to put anything there, so we're just going to ignore that column at all times. The career pathway is something that we do need to fill out, and this career pathway is going to be for AS, which stands for Animal Systems. The amount, we sold 2 dogs, so we're going to put that under the amount. Now, one thing you need to remember is when we have something in the total income column right here, when we have something here, we have to make sure that that number gets replicated over here, somewhere between columns 1 through 9. Well, column 1 we have labeled as dogs. And this column will stay labeled as dogs for the entire 2013 year. So all of our Form 1s, column 1, we need to make sure and label dogs. And that is where we're going to put the other $450. So it's kind of a checks and balance system. We've put something over here in the total income, so we've got to make sure something is over here in the rest of the columns. 450 equals 450. We're done with that transaction. So transaction number 2 is done. The next transaction that we need to do for January happens on January 27th. And this says we received 50 pounds of Purina dog chow from our parents. The total value of the dog chow was $30. So what this is saying is that mom and dad are giving us the dog food so that we can make sure and feed the dog every day. They're not actually giving us money. We're not actually having to go out and purchase it ourselves. They're just going to provide it for us. So we still want to put this in as an exchange of labor and put it in as an entry. So we're going to put the $30 under total income. We're going to then put EL for exchange of labor, which means I'm doing some work, I'm doing something to get a product or to get something, but I'm not necessarily getting cold hard cash. So we're going to do dog food after the EL. we're going to put AS for animal systems. Under amount, we're going to put 50 pounds, so we know that we got 50 pounds of dog food. And then ideally you would think, oh, that goes under dog. It has to do with dog. That's not the case. When it comes to doing exchange of labor, we are going to have to put it under the exchange of labor column, which they have already created for us. Now, the thing about exchange of labor is you have to put it in your income forms, and then you also have to show that it is in your pink forms, which we call our expenditure forms, and we'll do those later. So it looks like for the month of January, we have finished our entries for money coming in. So we're going to close out the month. So we have to remember there's 31 days in January, so we're going to put 1-31 on the last line. We're going to add up our 450 plus our 30, and that's going to give us our total income. And then the word total should already be there on your form. We're not going to bring down the amounts because you're adding dogs and dog food, and that's not the same thing, so we're not going to total those up. We're going to come over here and bring the 450 down from the entry that happened on the 10th, and we're going to come over here and bring the 30 down for the entry that happened on the 27th. So now we have finished out this entry for the month of January. So Form 1 is complete. One quick reminder, every entry gets its own row. So you don't ever put all of your information and all of your numbers on the same row. Every entry gets its own full line. The next thing we're going to do is go to Form 2 for January, and we're going to make sure that if there's a line that says to put January in 2013, we're going to do that. There may not be one on these forms. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our columns. And now for Form 2, our columns are 10 through 17. So column 10 and 11, you are not going to use as a freshman ag science student. But columns 12 through 16 will get used heavily as freshmen. Column 12 we're going to label as gifts, and column 13 we're going to label as parents. This allows us to enter anytime our parents give us money or we receive a gift that's monetary, we can put it in our record book. Now, in January we didn't have anything, so we need to close out Form 2. So we're simply going to make sure that we have gifts and parents in the columns, and we have the date, and we have 0. There was no money transacted on Form 2 for the month of January. Now we're going to go to February, and we're going to actually flip over your paper and do Form 2 for February, because that's the first time we received money in February. If you notice, item 5 on your purple sheet says on February 4th, we received birthday money or birthday gifts, money totaling $75. So this is where we would use Form 5 or Form 2. The big thing to remember is Form 1 is SAE focused and Form 2 is other focused. So if it's money that you're getting that does not relate with your SAE, it's going to go on Form 2. So Form 2 for transaction 5 on our purple sheet, we're going to put 2/4 as the date. We received $75. We're going to label it as birthday money. Your birthday is fun and we celebrate it every year, but it's not going to be a career, so we're not going to have a career pathway, and we're going to put the $75 under gifts. Then we're going to close out the month. You're going to have 28 days in February. You're going to bring down your 75. You're going to bring down your 75. If you have not noticed, this number here needs to equal the same as these numbers, and it also needs to equal what's being put down here. So it's just a double check. We're going to go to February, Form 1, and it shows that we actually on February 10th, we received $45 for an exchange of labor of potting soil. Potting soil is going to help us with our garden. Garden is plant systems, so we're going to put PS for plant systems. We're going to put 5 bags in the amount, and I realize it's a small box, so if you can't write that out, that's okay. And then it's an exchange of labor. So we're going to have to put that other $45 over here under the exchange of labor column. Then we're going to close out the month because we do not have any other way of bringing money in for the month of February. So $228, $45. We're going to bring the 5 down if you want to. You do not have to. The reason you can do it now is because there's no other amounts to add together, but it's not required. And you're going to bring down your 45 under the exchange of labor as well. The next one, we're going to go to March, and it looks like on March the 13th, we did some babysitting. We received $40 from the Malloy family. We babysat for 4 hours. Babysitting is not considered an SAE, which is why it is going to go under personal income. So March was the first time that we have done babysitting since we started our SAE. So that's why this category is now being created. And it's going to be under personal income. So this is another way that we are making money for ourselves, but we are not making money with our SAE. And that is okay. It's perfectly fine. So the 40 goes under the babysitting column, column 14. And so from now on, from March through December, column 14 must be labeled babysitting. Then that's all for the month of March on Form 2. So we're going to close it out. Make sure you get the last date of the month. Bring your $40 down. Bring your $40 down here. Then for Form 1 for March, we don't have anything, so we're going to close that out, get the last date for the month, get the 0 down here, and we're good to go. April, you'll notice that we did not actually make any money, but we did some volunteer work, and so we're going to just close out the month. Form 1 we closed out, Form 2 we closed out. Be sure to label your columns. And now we're on to May. We will have another form to do the volunteer work, and I'll show you that in another presentation. So now we've moved on to May. We're on May Form 1. On May 21st, it says that we earned $45 for mowing Grandma's yard, and it took us 3 hours to do that. That's going to fall under the plant systems category, and now we have a new label. We have now labeled column 4 as lawn service because now we started mowing yards. Then on the 25th, we received $24 because we mowed the neighbor's yard, and that took an hour. Once again, it's plant systems, and it's going to go under lawn service. So we're doing something that's SAE related, and we're receiving cash for it. So then we're going to close out the month. We're going to add these numbers up, and then we're going to move on to Form 2 for May. We did not earn any money any other way in May, so we're just going to close out the month. And now we're on to June. And in June, June 4th, we sold some boxer puppies. I believe 4 of them. Yeah, we sold 4 of them to the Texas Company Dog Auction, and we received $1,863. We're going to put that under the dog category, $1,863. We also got a job in June. And June 17th, we got paid. Your purple sheet shows that we got paid $248 gross pay with $68 wage deductions. Well, if you take $248 and subtract $68, you get $180. So you need to make sure that you put your net pay in here, not your gross pay. So our description is going to say Blue Springs Vet Clinic, Animal Systems, and now we're going to show that we worked 36 hours, and we're going to put that 180 under the Blue Springs Vet Clinic, which is now a new category under placement. We work someplace. Now we're going to bring the totals down, and we are done. We're going to go ahead and close out June Form 2. There's nothing there, and that is where we end.